I wouldn't mind, Prabhu. I'll do it. Jolie.
Okay, Jolene, Jolie, you can do English. That's good, and
Excellent.
we'll do the Sanskrit. So let me just share the screen now, and then we can start straight away. Okay, all set. Up to text 21 as usual.
Okay. Opulence, chapter 10, Opulence of the Absolute. Om Namo Bhagavate
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Bhuva Eva Mahabayo Shinu Me Paramam Vacha Yate Ham Priyamanaya Vakshami Hita Kamaya.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Listen again, O my mighty armed Arjuna. Because you are my friend, my dear friend, for your benefit I shall speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than what I have already explained."
Text 2. Name Vidu Suragana Papaivam Namaraha Shayaha Ahamadehi Devanam Maharashinam Cha Savashaha.
Neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages.
Yo Mam Ajam An Anadim Cha Veti Loka Maheshvaram Asa Mudaha Samateshu Savapape Parmuchatate.
He who knows me as the unborn, as the beginningless, as the supreme Lord of all the worlds, he only underdeluded among men, is freed from all sins.
Text 4 and 5. Buddhi Yagnam Ashma Oha Kashma Satyang Dhamma Samaha Sukham Dunakam Bhavo Bhayam Cha Bhayamam Eva Cha Ahimsa Satama Tushtistapo Dhanam Yasho Yashaha Bhavanti Bhava Bhutanam Mata Eva Pratag Vidaha.
Intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt and delusion, forgiveness, truthfulness, control of the senses, control of the mind, happiness and distress, birth, death and fear, fearlessness, non-violence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame, and infamy, all these various qualities of living beings are created by me alone.
Text 6. Maheshvar Sapta Purve Jadvala Manavas Tatha Madbhava Manasa Jata Yeshang Loka Ima Pajaha.
The seven great sages, and before them the four other great sages, and the Manus, progenitors of mankind, came from me, born from my mind, and all the living beings populating the various planets descend from them.
I can't hear anything. Is Luke?
No, Luke, are you all right?
It looks like he's not muted. He's actually unmuted.
Oh,
Oh.
sorry, my internet.
Okay.
Sorry, my internet just went down. Apologize.
Okay. Are you okay now?
Yeah. Shall I go from text 7?
Yes. 7, please.
Yeah. Okay. Etam vidhutim yogam cha mama yo veti tatvataha so vikapena yogena yujate natra samsayaha.
One who is factually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mine engages in unalloyed devotional service of this. There is no doubt.
Text 8. Ahang sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravatate iti matva bhajante mang buddha bhava samanvitaha.
I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts.
Text 9. Magchita madgata prana bodhayantaha parashparam kathayantascha mam nityang tushyanti cha ramanti cha.
The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing with me.
Text 10. Teshang sata yuktanang bhajantam priti puvakam dadami buddhi yogang tang yena upayanti te.
To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come with me.
Text 11. Tishamiv ivan kampatham ahamagyana jam tamaha nashayami atma bhava stojagna dipena bhajvata.
To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance.
Text 12 and 13. Arjuna uvacha param dhamma pavitram paramam bhavan purusham shashtam divyam adi devyam ajam vidhum ahush tvam vashaiha save deveshye narhat dastatha ashito devalo vaisha svayam cha vavishime.
Luke, there's a box in the way for my reading.
Oh.
Okay, so I do English for you.
No, I just can't see it. I want to see it.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah. It says Luke, yeah. Oh, God. I can't see it. Arjuna said, you are the Supreme Personality. Yeah, there is a white box alongside that.
I can't see it on my side, Jolie Mataji.
Oh, I can see you. You're there now.
Yeah.
Okay. That's strange. Anyway, I can't see that bit. So can somebody read it
Let
then,
me move
please?
it around. Is it better now?
Oh, that's better. Yes. Arjuna said, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages such as Narada, Sita, Devala, and Vyasa confirm this truth about you, and now you yourself are declaring it to me.
Text 14. Sarvamitaro tamane yanmam vashashi kevishava nahi te bhagavan vaiktim vidhu devadna Navaha.
O Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons, O Lord, can understand your personality.
Text 15. Svayam Ivatmanatmanam Vetvadvang Purushtotama Bhutabhavana Bhutesha Deva Deva Jagatpate.
There is another box, Luke. It needs to go up again. Sorry. Okay. That's 15. Indeed, you alone know yourself by your own internal potency. O Supreme Person, origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods, Lord of the universe.
Text 16. Vaktum Ahashi Hashena Divya Hi Atma Vibhutayaha Yabe Vibhute Lokam Imam Shvam Vayapayat Stashi.
Please tell me in detail of your divine opulences by which you pervade all these worlds.
Text 17. Tatham Vidham Aham Yogims Sadha Parishchatayan Keshu Keshu Chabhaveshu Jinto Shri Bhagavan Maya.
O Krishna, O Supreme Mystic, how shall I constantly think of you? And how shall I know you? In what various forms are you to be remembered, O Supreme Personality of Godhead?
Text 18. Vishta in Natamano Yoga Vidhutim Chat Janatana Ambioya Kayathai Achiptehi Shrivato Nashti Me Matam.
O Janardana, again, please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I'm never satiated in hearing about you. For the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words.
Text 19. Shri Bhagavan Hanta Te Kathai Yishami Divya Hi Atma Vibhutaya Vadhayantaha Kuru Shvashta Nashtiyanto Vishtavayashame.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, yes, I will tell you of my splendorous manifestations, but only of those who are prominent, O Arjuna, for my opulence is limitless.
Text 20. Aham Atma Gura Kesha Savabhutasya Shtitaha Aham Adishcha Madhayang Cha Bhutanam Anta Eva Cha.
I am the super soul, O Arjuna, seated in the hearts of all living entities. I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all beings.
Text 21. Adityayam Aham Vishnu Jyoitisham Rave Ushaman Mariche Marutam Ashmi Nakshtatvanam Aham Sashi.
Of the Adityas, I am Vishnu. Of lights, I am the radiant sun. Of the Maruts, I am Marishi. And among the stars, I am the moon.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Luke. That was wonderful. Thank
Very
you.
nice.
That's it.
Excellent. And Joy Mataji, excellent. Very, very nice. Thank you for the nice English.
Thank you.
Okay, let me just reduce this one and see if you can. I'm going to share the other screen. Okay, can you see the text for today on the screen?
Prabhuji.
We
Yes,
can
we can
see.
see it. Yeah, thank you.
And there's
I
no
can.
box, there's nothing obstructing the view, right?
This time, sorry. Thank you.
That's okay. I'm gonna just move it to the other side of my screen. Okay. So thank you both of you. Very nice recitation.
Sorry, Prabhuji, we can't see any screen.
You can't see the screen? Oh, yes, I moved it around. That's why. Okay,
Yeah, it's back now.
that's better. Okay, fine. Thank you. Okay, now let's see how I can do this. So today we're going to focus on 10.8. So we'll read, there's a request here. ST is requesting to undertake the shared contact. So I'm sorry, I'm going to decline that. Okay, 10.8. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 8. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samandita. The Lord says, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. A learned scholar who has studied the Vedas perfectly and has information from the authorities like Lord Chaitanya, and who knows how to apply these teachings can understand that Krishna is the origin in both the material and spiritual worlds. And because he knows this perfectly, he becomes firmly fixed in devotional service of the Supreme Lord. He can never be deviated by any amount of nonsensical commentaries or by fools. All Vedic literature agrees that Krishna is the source of Brahma, Shiva, and all other demigods. In the Atharva Veda, Gopalatapani Upanishad 1.24, it is said, Yo Brahmanam vidadhati purvam yo vai vedamscha gapayati sma Krishna. It was Krishna who in the beginning instructed Brahma in Vedic knowledge and who disseminated Vedic knowledge in the past. Then again, the Narayana Upanishad 1 says, Atha Purusho Havai Narayano Kamayata Praja Srijayati. The Supreme Personality Narayana desires to create living entities. The Upanishad continues, Narayananad Brahma Jayate, Narayananad Prajapati Prajayate, Narayananad Indro Jayate, Narayananad Astau Vishavo Jayante, Narayananad Ekadasha Rudra Jayante, Narayananad Dvadasha Ditya. From Narayan, Brahma is born, and from Narayan, the patriarchs are also born. From Narayan, Indra is born. From Narayan, the 8 Vasus are born. And from Narayan, 11 Rudras are born. From Narayan, the 12 Adityas are born. This Narayan is an expansion of Krishna. It is said in the same Vedas, Brahmanyo Devaki Putra, the son of Devaki, Krishna, is a supreme personality. Narayana Upanishad 4. Then it said, Eko vai Narayana asin, na Brahma neshano napo nagni samau neme dva aprithvi na nakshatrat rani na surya. In the beginning of creation, there was only the Supreme Personality Narayan. There was no Brahma, no Shiva, no water, no fire, no moon, no heaven or earth, no stars in the sky, no sun. Maha Upanishad 1.2. In the Maha Upanishad, it is said that Lord Shiva was born from the forehead of the Supreme Lord. Thus the Vedas say that it is the Supreme Lord, the creator of Brahma and Shiva, who is to be worshipped. In the Moksha Dharma section of Mahabharata, Krishna also says, Prajapatim cha rudram chapyaham eva srijami yavai tauhi mam na vijanito mama maya vimohito. The patriarchs, Shiva and others are created by me, though they do not know that they are created by me because they are deluded by my illusory energy. In the Varaha Purana, it is also said, Narayana paro devas tasmad jatas chaturmukha tasmad rudro bhavat deva sacha sarva jnatam gata. Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and from him Brahma was born, from whom Shiva was born. Lord Krishna is the source of all generations, and he is called the most efficient cause of everything. He says, because everything is born of me, I am the original source of all. Everything is under me. No one is above me. There is no supreme controller other than Krishna. One who understands Krishna in such a way from a bona fide spiritual master, with references from Vedic literature, engages all his energy in Krishna consciousness and becomes a truly learned man. In comparison to him, all others who do not know Krishna properly are but fools. Only a fool would consider Krishna to be an ordinary man. A Krishna conscious person should not be bewildered by such fools. He should avoid all unauthorized commentaries and interpretations on Bhagavad Gita and proceed in Krishna consciousness with determination and firmness. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamine Namine Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pashatya Deshitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I'll now share my slides. Okay, that over here. Right, so we continue reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 10, the opulence of the Absolute. Chapter summary so far, so 1 to 7, we studied about understanding Krishna's nobility and serving him. And now we're moving on to the next section, which is section 8 to 11. A very, very important section, this, because these 4 verses are called the Chaturshloki Gita. The complete message of Bhagavad Gita is included in these 4 verses. If one can understand and imbibe these 4 verses, they would have understood Bhagavad Gita perfectly. So today's verse, we've already read the Sanskrit, we'll just remind ourselves of the English. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and with all their hearts. So in the verses 4 and 5, Krishna speaks about the 20 qualities that he says are created by me. And then in the verse 6, he tells us that the 4 Kumaras, the 7 sages, and the Manus come from him. Verse 7 speaks about, Sutta Prabhu explained very nicely yesterday, that one who is factually convinced of this opulence, he engages in pure devotional service to him. So he's expanding now on that thing about pure devotional service and engaging in devotional service. So in case we are not convinced by all that, by the different qualities and the fact that everything comes from him, he's now saying that all the material worlds and all the spiritual worlds come from him. He's the source of everything. Everything emanates from him. So what happens when we understand this? He says, Buddha Bhava Samanvita, which means Buddha. Buddha means intelligence. Buddha means somebody who's learned. And Samanvita, Saman. So with all your heart, with your mind, full mind. So with greatest attention. So once we understand Krishna's opulence, once we understand that Krishna is all in all, then it becomes easy to surrender. And surrender is necessary for devotion to develop. If we keep our ego and we don't surrender, then devotional service is hard. So these are the kind of verses where Krishna talks about his opulences. One must have the understanding in the mind firmly, so that surrender becomes easier. When we have somebody who's in front of us who's very, very great, then surrender becomes easier. If we feel that no, there's some doubt about his greatness, then surrender doesn't happen. So these 4 verses, again, they cover the 3 aspects of understanding the Supreme, 3 aspects of devotional service: Sambandha, Abhidaya, and Prayojana. Sambandha means to understand the Lord as he is, and to understand our relationship with him as Sambandha. So this particular verse, 10.8, covers the Sambandha aspect. Then 9 and 10 will cover the Abhidaya aspect. Abhidaya is how, once you've understood this, how do we put this in practice? That's Abhidaya. And then verse 9 is Abhidaya, verse 10 and 11 will be Prayojana. Because once we have successfully engaged ourselves in devotional service, then 10 and 11 are the results, which will be covered as we go forward. So the main points from the purport, very nice purport from Srila Prabhupada. Who can understand this truth about Krishna? So a learned scholar who has studied the Vedas perfectly. So one who studied the Vedas, he can understand Krishna. Krishna says in the 15th chapter, Vedesa sarve aham eva vedyo, 15:15, that all the Vedas are there to know me. So if one studies the Vedas perfectly, he understands Krishna in truth. But then the second point he makes is that he has information from authorities like Lord Chaitanya, authorized sampradayas. So there are many scholars who have studied the Vedas. They pride themselves in being Dvivedi, Trivedi, Chaturvedi. These are terms, these are surnames you sometimes hear in Brahmana families. So if somebody is a Dvivedi, that means that he has mastered 2 Vedas. Somebody who's a Trivedi is mastered the 3 Vedas, and Chaturvedi is a master of all 4 Vedas. But even these Dvivedis, Trivedis, and Chaturvedis sometimes still, after studying all the Vedas, don't come to the conclusion that Krishna is a supreme. They get stuck in the Karma Kanda, Karma Yoga part of the Vedas and don't come to the personal understanding. So this is why the importance Prabhupada mentions here, that the information that you get, you must study the Vedas under the direction and instruction of one of the 4 sampradayas. We'll speak about the 4 sampradayas in a minute, but Lord Chaitanya is particularly mentioned here because he is the head of our sampradaya. And one who knows how to apply these teachings, he's the one who understands Krishna and truth. So again, the application, see, jnana is one thing. We can read books, we can read Vedas and get jnana. And jnana alone is not enough. We need vijnana. Jnana means knowledge, vijnana means application of that knowledge. So that again, the application, how to apply the Vedas in our life comes from our acharyas. So once again, it's very, very important to be attached to the correct sampradaya so we get the correct knowledge. The result of that is one is never deviated by the nonsensical commentators or by fools. So if we take just the Bhagavad Gita, for example, when Prabhupada translated the Bhagavad Gita, actually Prabhupada, as we all know, he started translating the Bhagavatam first. Because at that time already there were more than 200 different English translations of Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada thought, okay, there's already English translations. And at that time, there was not a single English translation of the Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada focused his energies on the Bhagavatam. But whilst he was doing all that, once in America in the early days, a lady, American lady, came to Srila Prabhupada and she said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I've been in the library, I've seen 4 or 5 different versions of the Bhagavad Gita. Can you tell me which one I should read? So Prabhupada said, okay, I'll find out for you. Next day he went to the library, he browsed through all the 4 versions that were there. And he came to the conclusion that all 4 of them were nonsensical commentaries, as he puts in this purport. Because these were translated by scholars who would have either not complete knowledge of Sanskrit or who would have their own ideas which they try to superimpose on the verses. So he decided, this is why he decided then to spend time and translate the Bhagavad Gita himself. And he called this Bhagavad Gita as it is. The reason why he calls it as it is because it is as it is supposed to be understood by Arjuna. So the very first translation of the Bhagavad Gita happened in 1785. Can you believe it? 1785. There was an Englishman called Sir Charles Wilkins. He was English, they call him a typographer, like an Orientalist. And he was apparently the founder member of the Asiatic Society in UK. So he was in India, he went to India, he went to Varanasi. He actually learned Sanskrit to translate the Bhagavad Gita. And then he translated it. So now you imagine that somebody who's just freshly learned Sanskrit, who's not origin from India, he is then taking an important scripture like Bhagavad Gita and translating it. Of course, all kudos to him for doing such a big job and translating it and giving the world the English version. But obviously there were many, many mistakes in the translation because the Sanskrit language is so complex that one word would have 7 different meanings of that. Depending on the context, it would have different meanings. So unless it has been translated by a pure devotee, the meaning will not come through. That's why Bhagavad Gita is so potent. See, all those 200 or now in fact now there are more than 600 translations of Bhagavad Gita. All those different translations put together have hardly made any devotees. But this one Bhagavad Gita translated by Srila Prabhupada, because of the purity of his translation, have converted thousands and thousands of Westerners into practicing Vaishnavas. This is the proof of the purity of this Bhagavad Gita. So the translations become misleading. Prabhupada, the amount of effort he put into his translations. One time, Shrutakirti Prabhu, who was a Prabhupada's servant in America in the early days, he was telling us a story that one time he used to always sleep outside Prabhupada's room. And Prabhupada's routine, wherever he was in the world, he would sleep for 3 or 4 hours. So he would go to sleep maybe 8 or 9 o'clock. He would wake up around midnight and start translating. From midnight to 4 o'clock, 4:30, he would translate. So Shrutakirti Prabhu would always be there. He would see the lights come on. He would be outside. he would then be just waiting in case Prabhupada needs something. Prabhupada ring a bell, and he would go. But he would hear Prabhupada translating all the time. He would hear Prabhupada translating. But this one night, he couldn't hear Prabhupada. He could hear Prabhupada pacing up and down, but not translating. So he then didn't say anything about it. Next day, the same thing happened. Third day, the same thing happened. He went the fourth morning, he went in and he said, Prabhupada, are you okay? Are you feeling all right? He says, yes. Why are you asking? He says, because for the 3 nights I noticed you haven't been translating. The Prabhupada says there's this one sentence in Sanskrit. I've been thinking how to put it properly so the meaning doesn't get spoiled. So imagine for 3 nights, Srila Prabhupada was focusing on just one sentence. This is how much effort he put in his translations. And this is why the potency is there. I found an old picture of Sir Charles Wilkins, and he was on this earth from 1749 to 1836, and in 1786 he translated the Bhagavad Gita. So, talking about the sampradayas, so the information about the 4 sampradayas comes from the Padma Purana. There are 4 sampradayas. There are 4 Vaishnava sampradayas which preserve the fruitful mantras. All mantras which have been given to disciples, not in authorized sampradayas, are fruitless. Therefore, in Kali Yuga, there will be 4 bona fide sampradayas. This was predicted in the Padma Purana. And the 4 sampradayas, we have discussed them before, but here they are. Lord Krishna, they all come from Lord Krishna, and there is the Brahma Sampradaya, which is the sampradaya we belong to, and the leading preceptor in that sampradaya is Madhvacharya. Then there is a Sri Sampradaya from Lakshmi Devi, and the leading preceptor in that sampradaya is Ramanujacharya. Then there is the Rudra Sampradaya from Lord Shiva, and Vishnu Swami is a preceptor there. And then there's the 4 Kumaras. They have their sampradaya called the Kumara Sampradaya, and their Acharya is Nimbaka Acharya. So these are the 4 sampradayas. So if knowledge is coming down from all these 4 sampradayas, it will lead you to success in spiritual life. Although each sampradaya has got a slightly different aspect of Vaishnavism, it still doesn't matter. All 4 are authorized. So then Prabhupada says, Krishna being the source of all demigods, including Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. So then he gives so much evidence from different Upanishads. From Gopala Tapani Upanishad, he says Krishna is the beginning. Krishna in the beginning gave knowledge to Brahma. So this we know, we have heard it also in the Bhagavatam. Then Brahma Hridaya Kavita. Then Brahma Hridaya Kavita. Adi Kavaya. Then Brahma Ya Adi Kavaya. That Lord imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahma, the first living being. Then from the Narayana Upanishad, it says, the Supreme Personal Narayan desired to create all living entities. Thus, he created Brahmajis, living entities. To create living entities, thus Brahmaji, 25 patriarchs. We spoke about the 25 patriarchs on Tuesday. Indra, the 8 Vasus, 11 Rudras, and 12 Adityas are born from there. And Narayan is expansion of Krishna. Again, we've covered all that before. From the Maha Upanishad, in the beginning of creation, there was only one Supreme Personality, Narayan. So the Lord says, Aham evasam evagre. In the beginning, there was nothing but me. And then from the Moksha Dharma, Krishna says, patriarchs, Shivas, and others are created by him. Although they do not know so, because they are deluded by illusory energies. So even the demigods are covered by the illusory energy. Just as we forget that we are the spirit soul, we are the pure soul. We don't belong in the material world. Our identity is not material. We are spiritual. But we forget because we are deluded by his energy. Similarly, even the demigods are covered by his illusion. So that's why they forget. And that's why we have situations like Lord Brahma, when he gets deluded, when he gets confused about the Lord's personality in the Brahma Vimohan Leela. That again we have discussed in the past. And the Varaha Purana, Narayana, Supreme Personality Godhead, from whom Lord Brahma and further Lord Shiva is born. These are different pramanas, different evidences Prabhupada is given to us in the purport. Krishna being the source of all demigods, including all Lord, continuing that theme, I found this beautiful picture on the net where you can see Lord Krishna is on top there. You've got your Karanasai Vishnu, Garbhodasai Vishnu, Shirodasai Vishnu. You've got the four Kumaras. You've got all the different avatars here. Lord Narasimhadev is here. And there is Parshuram is here. So many different avatars are here. Lord Kalki Dev is also here for the future. You got Lord Chaitanya also showing here. It's a beautiful picture here showing how all avatars also come from Krishna, Narayan. So this is the criteria of understanding who God is. God is someone from whom everything has emanated, as this verse says. He is the cause of everything. And we know from Brahma Samhita 5.1. Anybody know this verse, please?
Para Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam.
Very good. Thank you very much. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is a supreme Godhead. He has an eternal, blissful, spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He is no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes. Another description of Krishna is given in the Brahma Samhita. Beautiful verse in Brahma Samhita. Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Ananta Rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Dullabhamadulabhamatma Bhakta Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. This is the lovely form of Krishna. I worship Govinda, the Primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas. You see, as we were saying earlier, the Vedas alone cannot show you Krishna. The Vedas give you knowledge, but it's not available to the Vedas. Difficult. Through the Vedas, it's difficult to understand Krishna. But it says, but it's obtainable by pure, unalloyed devotion of the soul. Videshu Durlabham, Durlabham is difficult. But Adurlabham means easy, by Atma Bhakta, unalloyed devotion of the soul, who is without the second. Advaitam, who is not subject to decay. Achyutam, Anadim, he is no beginning. And Nadim, let's go next. Nadim, Ananta Rupam, his form is endless. Adyam, he is the beginning. Purana Purusham means he is the oldest person. It says he is eternal Purusha. Yet he's a person possessing the beauty of blooming youth. You can see in this picture, Krishna is the oldest person, yet he always remains Navayovanam. He always remains like a blooming youth. Krishna is a seed-giving father of all living entities. Does anybody know in the Bhagavad Gita where this verse is? Seed-giving father. Here's a clue. 14.4. Does anybody know this verse?
Aham Bij Pradapita. I remember the last line.
That's the last time. Thank you. Yes. So this one says, Sarva Yonishu Konteya Murtaya Sambhavantiya Tasham Brahma Mahadiyonir Aham Bija Pradapita. So Sarva Yonishu. It should be understood that all species of life, Sarva Yonishu, O son of Kunti, Konteya, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. So Sarva Yonishu, which means all yonis, not just human beings. We make the mistake sometimes thinking that the Lord is speaking just to us and he only takes care of us. No, he says, I am the seed-giving father of all the yonis. So we have to understand that the animals, birds, beasts, fish, insects, all of them are the children of the Lord. And with that understanding, we can have a peaceful life in this world. If people understand that each and every species of this world is our brothers and sisters, there will be peace. There will be nobody hurting everybody else. So what is the recommendation Krishna gives to the devotees? We have to avoid unauthorized commentaries on Bhagavad Gita, or for that matter, any scripture. We have to avoid unauthorized Gita. That's why it's very important what we read. People sometimes say, yes, I'll find a Bhagavad Gita in the library, I read it. But no, you have to be careful who has translated it. In the Padma Purana, there is a beautiful verse which talks about non-Vaishnavas, non-devotees. He says, Avaishnava mukhot girnam, putam hari kathamritam, shravanam naiva kartavyam, sarpo chesta yathapaya. Avaishnava meaning non-devotees. One should never hear the nectarian narration of the Supreme Lord Hari from the mouth of a non-Vaishnava. Because if such a narration is heard, it results in spiritual death to the listener. Like death by drinking milk touched by the lips of a serpent. Sarpo chista yadhapaya. Sarpo means, of course, a snake or a serpent. Chista by touching. Yadha. Paya refers to milk. So when milk is touched by the lips of a serpent, it turns into poison. Similarly, Uttam Hari Kathamitam, it may be Harikatha. Somebody may be actually speaking about the Bhagavatam, about the Mahabharata. It is Harikatha. But if it is touched by the lips of non-devotees, it becomes poison. Not always, of course, but we have to be careful. It turns into poison. So we have to be careful where we hear from, where we read from, where we hear from. We have to protect our devotional life by these actions. Prabhupada says, fools say that Krishna is an ordinary man. Again, there's a verse we recently did in the 9th chapter. Anybody remember this 9:11? It talks about how people consider Krishna an ordinary man. Fools. Avajananti ma muda manushim tanum ashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as a supreme Lord of all that be. So only fools who don't know the opulence of Krishna would consider him as an ordinary man. So the result of engaging in devotional service is that we develop love for Krishna. If we love Krishna, we automatically love all his children, which means we will not commit ahimsa, we will not be cruel to animals. Right? His children include animals. Krishna always loves us. We have forgotten Krishna's love. Prabhupada often says there cannot be universal peace unless everybody is Krishna conscious. Because if you are Krishna conscious, you will know that every living entity is Krishna's part and parcel, and we have to be kind to every living entity. The Nectar Devotion talks about the effect of devotional service on the devotee. Jagat Pranadi Dvaya Pradatvam. He possesses the affection for all others, and he is the object of all others' affection. Also it says, Sat Gunadi Pradatvam. The devotee possesses all good qualities. So these are the qualities of a devotee. By studying scriptures properly, by understanding Krishna, and by becoming a devotee, this is where we end up. So it's 8:35. I will stop here. There was a couple of pastimes we were going to speak about, but we run out of time. So I will open up for discussion, for comments, for correction, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Santosh here. I'd
Hare
like to
Krishna,
ask you,
Santosh Mataji. Your voice is very faint. Maybe you can just move closer.
is that better?
Yes, a little bit better.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Go on.
Okay, my question is about the patriarchs.
Yes.
The patriarchs. Are the patriarchs Indra and Vasus, Rudras, are they all patriarchs?
So the patriarchs, the 25 patriarchs, were specifically mentioned in the verse 6. So they're all there. Of course, in the end, all the patriarchs means like the original fathers, right? So all the sort of forefathers would be patriarchs, but Indra and Rudras were not mentioned there. The patriarchs were mentioned, if I remember correctly, the four Kumaras. No, four Kumaras were not patriarchs, sorry, because they did not even partake in having children or getting married or getting involved. But
Yes,
the Manus, particularly Manus, and the seven sages, those
I see.
are counted as patriarchs. But then
They're
all the
quite,
forefathers. Then we have Saturupa and Manu. Then we have others. So they were all forefathers. Yeah.
yes. So they were quite a high level in status, as far as status is concerned. I'm just wondering, how come they are deluded by illusory energy? Because they are of a very high status.
Yes. So okay. See, when the material world is created in the second or third canto of the Bhagavad, I forget exactly where, it is mentioned that initially first thing was created was ignorance. Because unless there was a little bit of ignorance, we cannot stay in the material world. If there was no delusion, if there was no covering of our intelligence, we would not be able to live here, because once your intelligence is completely cleansed of the confusion, you would be in the spiritual world. So for the demigods also to perform their duties in the mode of passion or the mode of goodness, they have to be covered up a little bit so that they can maintain and carry on doing their work. Otherwise, they will not be able to stay in the material world. So it's by design that Krishna covers the intelligence so they can continue working. For us also, because we have desired to be in the material world, Krishna has to cover us with ignorance so that we can fulfill our desire.
I see. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Chandresh Prabhu.
Prabhu, the question is about these four sampradayas.
Yes.
So we have Sri Sampradaya and Brahma Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya. So what's the significance of Brahma, Sri Lakshmi Ji, Shiva, and four Kumaras in these sampradayas?
Yeah, so these are the head of the sampradayas. So these sampradayas started by them. So they're the ones who actually started these sampradayas. So Brahma sampradayas was started from Brahma. If you look at the Bhagavad Gita, you will see the list in India before all the shlokas start, the list of Brahma and all the way down to Prabhupada. So that is a sampradaya, the Brahma Madhva sampradaya. Like that. So Sri would be like that, and Rudra would be like that similarly. So these are the ones that they are the originators of these sampradayas. If you follow any of these sampradayas, Chandresh Prabhu, and you trace them all the way back, they'll go back. So the Kumara sampradaya would go back to Kumaras, Rudra would go back to Shiva, and Lakshmi would get the Sri sampradaya would go back to Lakshmi, like that.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Just to ask a simple question.
Yes, please.
Did I notice in that picture from Krishna at the top and all the followers below,
Yeah.
there was Jesus Christ in there? Because I noticed somebody looks like Jesus Christ.
Well noticed. Well noticed. Because
Well,
Jesus
it
Christ,
was.
he was there. Yes, Jesus Christ was there, and there's another personality on the right. Let me actually put that picture up again.
If you can, yeah.
Yes, I can. It's a good question, because when I was looking at the picture, I only saw it this afternoon, to be honest.
Yeah.
And when I was looking at it, I also was thinking about that. So let me share that now. Okay. I'm just get to that slide before I share the screen. There you go. Okay, let me now share that. If I can get to my sharing screen in a second. No, where is my thing gone? Okay, here, I got it here. It's here. Okay, share screen. And then I'm going to share this. So you can see here, this is Jesus, I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a personality here, is not, obviously doesn't look like a Vedic personality. He's got something, a book in his hand. I'm not sure if anybody can guess. So yeah, so in that sense, you can see that eventually, uh, Lord Jesus Christ, he never says I am the Lord, does he? He says I am the servant of the Lord. I'm the
The,
son
the
of God.
Son of God.
So in this
Son,
sense,
Son of God.
from our point of view, although the others may not agree and they have different concepts of God, but Krishna says that he is my son. And
Yeah.
Prabhupada, always in many lectures, Prabhupada, you will hear, he will say that we have the highest regard for Jesus Christ because he is our Acharya. He said, Prabhupada calls Jesus Christ our Acharya.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Humble obeisances. Thank you for a wonderful class, Prabhuji. I've got one question, Prabhuji. It's actually a doubt, actually.
Yeah.
In Srimad Bhagavatam, it says that Rudra was born from Brahma's forehead.
Yes.
And then in this verse which we recited, it says there are 11 Rudras.
Yes.
It also says that Shiva comes from Narayana's forehead.
Yes. Yes.
So what is the difference between Shiva and Rudra? And
Yes. Yes. So no, basically, we're talking about the same thing here. When I read the purport, I also noticed that we hear from the Bhagavatam that the Rudra appears from between the eyebrows of Lord Brahma, and in here it says Lord Narayan. So we have to understand, I suppose, and I'm sorry, but I'm speculating a little bit here, that um, indirectly, it is obviously everything is from Narayan, as he's saying in this particular verse that he is everything emanates from him. So although directly he came from Brahma, but indirectly it comes from Narayan as well, like that. If you see what I mean. But yes, you are right. There seems to be a seeming contradiction there. But I do know, reading Prabhupada books, there's never a contradiction. There's always an explanation.
Prabhuji, are the Rudra and Shiva the same or are they different?
Rudra, basically, Rudra Shiva is the same. Basically, Shiva, first of all, we have the Sada Shiva. And Sada Shiva is permanently in the spiritual world, in the sense that he is in between the spiritual world and the material world. He has got his own special position. And then he expands into the Rudras who enter into the material world. But we're talking about the same personality. It's the expansions of Sadashiva.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Parul here.
Param.
Yeah, earlier that question asked by Chandresh, I had a doubt, or maybe I'm wrong or something. If all the sampradayas come from Krishna, but still the underlying message may be one, but they still differ. And what may be the reason for that difference?
Okay.
If they are all emanating from one source.
Yes. So, okay, good, very good question, Paul Mataji. So it's like this. The message comes from one source. There's only one message, which we're hearing in the Bhagavad Gita. And all the four sampradayas accept these facts exactly as they are in the Bhagavad Gita. What is different is the mode of practice. The mode of practice is different. For example, our main focus of worship in the Brahma Gaudiya Sampradaya is Radha and Krishna. We worship Radha and Krishna, one Lord who is dual. Some other sampradayas would worship the Bal Gopal form of the Lord. Some would worship the Vishnu form of the Lord. So like that. But the emphasis is slightly different. But at the end, the end goal of all the four sampradayas is to go back to Godhead. So those who are worshipping the Vishnu form, their aim is to go back to the Vaikuntha planets. The aim of the Brahma Sampradaya is to go back to Krishna Lok. Like that, right? So it is the same message, just slightly different practices. And the reason for that is that there is variety. There is not oneness. There's this world, spiritual world as well as the material world, is full of variety. and people different have slightly different mentalities. Some may have Vatsalya Bhav. They're completely overflowing with Vatsalya Bhav. So they will more link with the baby form of Krishna, and they will like to worship the Sampradaya Pushti Marga. That will be more suitable for them. You see what I mean? So we don't have to force anybody away from their natural mentality. Some others may say that I love the form of Vishnu, and that is my deity. So that's fine. Let them worship Vishnu like that.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. So it's 8:46. Thank you all very much again. Thank you, Luke Prabhu, for reciting the Sanskrit, and thank you, Jolly Mataji, for the English. Once again, thank you all very much for joining us.
Thank
Be
you,
safe,
Prabhuji.
take care.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Wonderful
Thank you.
class. Thank you.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Krishna, thank you, Prabhu. Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank
Class.
you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, I've got one question.
Yes.
Recordings. I can't seem to open any recordings. I don't know. It's
Going
something.
to open it. So I'm surprised you're not opening it.
None of them. When I miss a class or sometimes I want to hear again, I mean, I just can't seem to open any of them.
Just
I,
mine or anybody else's?
I have tried yours. I've tried all three. Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu's the other day. I can't just open them.
Okay. Anybody on this still here on the class? Anybody can confirm they can open this?
Yes, the recordings are very clear and
And you can open them.
How
Yeah.
do you do it? Have you got a special app or something?
No, you don't actually. No, generally you don't need an app for the recording. Because in my case, those files are sitting on my OneDrive, and I'm giving access by the link. So you should be able to just get in it straight away. So something that you need to.
Maybe my phone doesn't have that. I mean, it's a very old phone.
The recording has to be downloaded. The recording has to be downloaded on your phone. So you click on the when the link is sent, you click on the link, and the recording will be downloaded on your phone, and then you can hear them.
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't got the memory. That's the problem then.
Maybe that's why.
Yes,
So maybe
that's the
yeah.
problem.
Maybe
Because I tried to put it on the on the laptop, thinking if I email them, but
yeah.
even I can't open even on the email.
Oh, that's very surprising.
Yes, so that was the only concern that sometimes I
Yeah.
can't.
That's
I'll try my husband's phone because
yeah.
he's on the
Try that. Yeah.
system as well.
There's some issue at your side, so you just need to work it out. But
Yeah,
so far, people have not complained about it.
because I spoke to Ashwin Prabhu.
Yeah.
Divyanam asked me to contact him. I did, and he said he can't download it.
He can or he can't.
Can't.
He can't. Oh.
નથી થતું.
That's thatu. So that's very strange.
એટલે એની મેં કહ્યું તમે કરી શકશો કે મારું નથી થતું એટલે
Oh wow.
એટલે don't worry.
Yeah.
I'll try again on this one
Okay.
and see what happens.
Yes.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Thank you. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Okay. Here you go.